Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Let's Talk podcast. My name is Kamisha Whitaker-Moore. First of all, I want to say, first giving on to God. You hear me?
Yes.
And happy 2026, everyone. We have jumped over from 2025 to 2026, and we in this thing. And today, our very first episode in 2026, we're going to be talking to my big little brother, Ron.
Hey, how you doing? Thank you.
Also, friend of the family, brother Anthony.
How y'all doing? How y'all doing?
So,
And today, guys, we're gonna have a topic. The last time we were here, it was me and Bo. We were talking about if you pay the bills, does that mean that you are automatically like the leader of the bunch, or whatever the case may be? We had a ton of hits. We had a ton of comments on one or two of our reels about this. And honestly, I want to kind of get down to the meat and potatoes of some of what was said. And basically, guys feel as if, regardless if they pay the bill or not, they are not given their just due. Emotionally, anything. So we're going to kind of talk about that. Married versus single or not married. And we're just going to kind of get some understanding of what a guy's or a man's perspective is. And this is going to be our first episode in 2026. Amen?
amen.
All right, guys. So we're going to get into it. Like I said, we had a ton of hits on comments, some questions on, I think Bo was saying something about ever hear of a happy wife, a happy life. What about the man? And so on that, there was a ton of comments. Guys said that, hey, listen, no one cares about them. No one's trying to take care of them. They out here trying to take care of everything, all things, bills, relationships, different things like that, trying to feed into us emotionally, all of the things that as women we feel we need. Sometimes, they have to be our hype person, hype us up, tell us we're beautiful, you're sexy, different things like that. But what are y'all getting? Who's feeding into you? How are you feeling emotionally? Do you feel like you're being fed? Do you feel like you're being looked at, honored? All of the things. So let's just talk about that part, okay? So we're just going to kind of throw it out there, not in any type of order, but let's just talk about that. As a married man, as a single, non-married guy, what are we talking about? What does that look like for you all on the relationship side of things? Are you okay? Are you okay? Okay, so let's just talk about it.
All right.
Okay. Anybody can go first. It don't even matter.
Okay. I feel like as a man, you know that there is such a stereotype for the man to take care of everything, to make sure that everything is okay, to never complain about anything, to keep those emotions in. And I feel like that is on that the reason that people say to keep those emotions in because, some men or the male figure is thought to be more logical and less emotional. And I feel like I try to make most of my decisions based off logic and not the way that I feel at the moment because feelings change. Logic doesn't. So as a man, I just feel like your woman, your spouse, your partner, they should pour into you as much as you pour into them. You want to be considered, or we're considered as partners. What a partner does is they assist or they help the other one, being a helper one to the other. So I feel like a lot of men are being looked over by their spouse or by other women just for the single fact is that because you're supposed to be strong.
Right.
You're supposed to be able to handle everything that the world is throwing at you and still have a smile. That's just, I mean, I feel like I was raised that way because my father, he was raised that way. So it's a stigma on being strong and not showing emotions, but showing emotions and allowing yourself to be vulnerable. That's how you know that you're in connection with that person because you don't have to put up a facade. You don't have to put up an image. You can just completely be yourself because if you have a partner that's helping you, that's pouring into you, and you're pouring into them, that helps the relationship to be stronger. Not just you,
Mhm.
but if you're strong and you're pouring into her, then the foundation is strong.
Okay. Okay, I got you. Anthony, you have anything you want to add to that?
I agree. I when it comes to guys showing emotions, I do agree that it is taught,
Mm-hmm.
and it's taught, at a young age. And sometimes it's not necessarily taught, it's just what we see.
Yeah.
It's what we see from our fathers, it's what we see from like the uncles, the people that we idolize or we consider role models. We see them acting a certain way. So that's how we start to act.
Mhm.
And the older kids, when we growing up, oh, you a punk, or oh, you sensitive, you soft.
Mm-hmm.
So then you kind of got to build on top of that.
Mhm.
You start to get harder,
Mhm.
or sometimes you try to show your emotions, and it gets thrown back into your face. So
Mhm.
then you start getting harder,
Yeah.
and this kind of repeats. It kind
Yeah.
of repeats as a cycle. So then you get to this point where you like, I'm not gonna show no emotions because it's just gonna hurt me anyways.
Right. Right.
So I think that's where a lot of the emotion part comes into play. To kind of go back to like, are we okay?
yeah.
And I guess this is coming from a married man's
Mhm.
perspective or whatever. I think for the most part we are.
Yeah.
We have to be.
Mm-hmm.
Regardless of what's going on around us, regardless of how we're treated, we have to be,
Mm-hmm.
because there's a lot on our shoulders. And if we stop, a lot of other things stop with us.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So in a sense, we don't have a choice. We have to be. But I don't even think that's just men.
Yeah.
Human
Right.
beings
Absolutely.
Right.
in general. Like if you stop a lot of stuff, mothers, they have kids. It doesn't matter.
Right.
There's people depending on us. There's things that we have to do. There's things that we're responsible for. So we got to keep going.
Right.
Yeah.
I totally understand that. I I do want to ask a question for sure, because I know me, how I am with this, and so I'm a woman. You are men. You two are men. Say for instance, and you guys touched on this a little bit. You get emotional or vulnerable with your mate.
Mhm.
Okay. So once you do that, right? And then say for instance, I'm like an alpha female, whatever the case may be. And then my husband or my other half said, I'm like, dude, shut up. Quit whining. Suck it up.
Mhm.
It can't be that bad. You know what I
Right.
mean? So if I do that to you,
Mhm.
what does that do to you?
Kills trust. It kills the me being able to be vulnerable around you,
Mhm.
because what is the best word for this? The get back, or the
Right.
clashing of me saying, okay, you see this happening to me, and then for you to not even consider how I'm feeling or even know what I'm going through, for you to limit that with, you know what I'm saying, with it can't be that bad or
Right.
this or whatever. What that does to me is make me feel like I can't be myself around you. And if I can't be myself around you and you're my other half, in my mind, I start detaching emotionally. And for a man, once I detach emotionally from my other half or whatever, you can be in front of my face and you dead to me, or you're invisible to me because you're no longer my safe spot. As a man, being a protector, and a woman being a nurturer, these are all traits that we were taught and that we saw.
Mhm.
So if in my strength I can't show my vulnerability, I can no longer trust you to be who I need you to be. You don't have my back now because you just threw it back in my face.
Mhm.
So you almost start becoming a stranger to me
We become
without even knowing it.
we become enemies.
Enemies that's over time.
Right.
That's over time, but it's the detaching process. It begins.
It
then.
started.
It starts.
What
then.
about for you, Anthony? Do you agree? I mean, you are a married man. Bo is a little bit different because he is a single guy. So this is how he looks at it. What about you? And I'm not saying that your wife too, but just kind of, add to what are your thoughts on this? If someone were to do that to you, what happens at that moment?
I think everybody has a different tolerance levels to
Right.
that. Some people, that's it.
Yeah.
You got one time to cross me. I'm never gonna show you, or I'm never gonna be that vulnerable with you again. Other
Right.
people, they'll give you a few chances. Some people, it's 3 strikes you out.
Yeah.
I'm gone. For me, I believe sometimes in certain things, especially with people that I love, I believe in second, third chances. People that are slightly outside of my circle, I've been known to be a little more ruthless.
Yeah, right.
I'll cut you off sometimes before you even
Finish your sentence.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I have definitely been guilty of that, and I'm working on that. For me, I love being able to be vulnerable with my wife.
Yeah.
Because as a man, we're being strong out there in the world, being able to come home and be soft.
Yeah.
That's like you said, like a safe space. Like
Yeah.
it's like I get a chance to take this mask off.
Yeah.
In a sense, and it kind of is healing, especially if she reciprocates, if she pours back into you like you are expecting or like you wanting her to. But as soon as and I'll say this in like the early parts of our relationship, some things did happen. But like I said, I give second chances, and it wasn't just her.
Right.
You kind of learn a person as you go on.
Right, for
because
sure.
some people don't view a thing as that bad.
Yeah.
Like I said, everybody has different tolerance levels, so you kind of got to understand your partner. You got to have that conversation, and y'all kind of got to learn each other, and then that's when you kind of figure some of that stuff out.
Yeah, for sure. You're right about that, because I don't think that we learn that right off the bat. We have to kind of, honestly, it really depends on, to me, it depends on who we are and what stage we're in, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Because as a single mom, getting married and being in a relationship, I'm like, dude, you ain't seen nothing. What? You had a bad day at work. What does that mean? Somebody put the wrong what? Are you serious? So I was like, get over it. There's nothing. I mean, that's something, that's whatever. You know what I mean? And so honestly, I can see my eras in my marriage when I would do that, because I'm like, that is not even that bad. And then I'm like, just rethink what happened and look at it from a different point of view, And so I could have been a little bit softer in my words as well, because sometimes I'm like, that ain't nothing. You know what I mean? And so, but all the time, you just want to be vulnerable with your person because you did have a bad day. Or, you know what I mean? Like, hey, this affected you a little bit different than me, or whatever the case may be, because you're right. We look at things totally different. And as men and as women, we do, because some things, and especially if you're a woman that wasn't or has not raised children by yourself, your tough day and my tough day, 2 different tough days.
Yeah.
2 different hard things. And then if I'm raising my children by myself and then I get married after this, then, opposed to a woman that does not have children, that has not raised children by herself, then she can be, to me, it's 2 different people, 2 different ideas of what roughness is. And what, like, oh, baby, come here, let me rub your head, and it's okay. It's going to be better tomorrow, opposed to, boy, you better shut up. You know what I mean? Tough. Get over it. You're okay. Yeah. So I just think that as women, sometimes we can be a little hard. As women, sometimes we could be a little ruthless. Sometimes our lives and where we are is not what you need us to be. So I think in relationships, it's very important to communicate with your partner and say, hey, listen, who do I need to be for you?
Yeah.
Who do I need to be for you? What do I need to do for you? Or whatever the case may be, because sometimes we have to be reminded, and that's just me. I'm not speaking on all women, but I'm speaking on me, because sometimes what's a big deal to you isn't a big deal to me, but I have to make sure that I'm being listening to you, taking in all the things that you have going on, and letting you know, hey, I got you. I support you. What do you need me to do? How do I need to fix this? Whatever the case may be. And even if I can't do anything but just sit there and listen to you and rub your kneecap, this is what you need me to do.
Right.
And so I think that it is different. And so sometimes some of the guys in the comments, like, bro, they don't care about us. And I understand, because as a woman that has done things the wrong way, I get it. You know what I'm saying? I get it. And sometimes it doesn't make you guys feel good about who you are because you pay the bills, you try to be a good leader, you try to be a good husband, a good father, go to church, lead your family, and then all I'm doing is fussing all day.
Yeah.
All I'm doing is telling you what you should have been doing. All I'm doing is telling you what you could have done. You could have done this better. Yeah, you cooked that pork chop. It's pretty good. It's real crispy, but you know what? You could have left it in there about 2 more minutes. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
I'm trying to correct you on all things, and you don't need me to do that because number one, I'm not your mama. So you need a wife. You need your wife. You need your girlfriend. You need whatever. And so I think that sometimes we fail at that. And if so, honestly, allow a little bit of some grace. Let us know. And I think this is where communication comes in.
Exactly.
And so, with that being said, how does that work? So, if someone says that to you, and then you want to allow grace or extend grace to that person, because you said sometimes you get detached emotionally.
Yes.
And as a single person in a relationship and you become detached emotionally, what's the next steps?
The next step for me, once emotional detachment, replacement. And that's for me because as much as like even when we're talking about the transition of a man and a woman and what we need for each other to be, you have to pay in mind or think about a man that's been by themselves for a while. That's a completely different animal versus a man who's used to being in a relationship. A man that's used to being alone, little bitty threats. Oh, I'll leave if you do this. Means nothing.
Right.
Oh, if you don't do this, if you don't do that, it means nothing because a man that's been by themselves for a while and that's comfortable with being by themselves for a while, it's almost like walking on thin ice because you could do anything. And I could be like, you know what? I didn't like that. And as a result of me not liking that, I don't think I want to see you anymore.
Yeah.
And that could be an instance. As a man who's used to being by themselves and not being in that many relationships, and I might have to call this self-sabotage, when I've been in relationships or leading to relationships and there was a woman there and she was like, oh, baby, it's going to be a great day. It's going to be this, it's going to be that. In the back of my mind, I'm like, okay, who is she trying to convince? Is this a game? How long will this facade be up? When do I see the real person? Because not being used to that, not being used to being in a nurturing relationship, but being used to picking your own self up and looking in that mirror and saying, hey, ain't nobody finna pick you up if you fall. So if you fall, get up gracefully, put your head up, chest out, and keep going. Sometimes being by yourself, you learn to motivate yourself. So when someone else comes in that tries to motivate you, you question if it's real or not. What is their motive? And then you go like, okay.
So how do you even feel? Why do you think there is a motive? So she could be genuinely
she could be
like trying to really take care of you emotionally, but then there's a motive. First you said that you want somebody to do it.
Yeah.
But then she doing it, and then how you want it?
That's the moment you having within the conflict within yourself at that time because now you've become used to being alone, and all the things that, say for instance, one man may say, "Well, my wife, she cooks, she cleans." When you used to being by yourself and you do all those things, so if somebody don't do it, that's regular because I do it myself. So when you're looking for a companion, when you're looking for a friend, that you look for someone who you feel like everything is happening organically. That it's just like, you're not doing this because I'm asking you to. You're doing this because you want to do it. And words and actions can be felt versus heard. So you could tell me something. You could tell me everything that I want to hear. But if I don't feel it, it doesn't feel organic. It feels artificial. And if it's artificial, then it's not beneficial.
Okay.
And that could just be a conflict within my own mind.
Right.
But I feel like I speak for the man who's comfortable and used to being by themselves when looking for a partner. Because as crazy as the world is, people come into your life not always with good intentions.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to fight past that in your head. Is this a good intention? Are they coming here
Mm-hmm.
for me, for genuinely me, or what I can provide, or what I have, or what do I do?
Mm-hmm.
That's a conflict within itself.
I got you. So what if you have a woman that is not coming for you for what you can provide or what you can give, but she's not taking you in your vulnerable state. She'd be like, boy, get up, shut up, and keep on moving. And then y'all go on about your business. So then you don't like that because you can't be open or vulnerable with her, but she don't want anything from you. She's in for the partnership. She may not be the one that, you know what I'm saying, you might not like the way that she doesn't take your vulnerability, but she's not out there trying to get anything from you versus you fighting yourself in your own head and somebody out there is taking all the vulnerability, listening, rubbing your kneecap, rubbing your head, and all these other things. So I'm kind of confused at what you're talking about.
Been there. Okay. So
well, hold on. Give Anthony an opportunity to
Go
answer or say whatever you want to, Anthony, because this boy got me confused over here.
I mean, I think it also depends on the man because some men, not all men are vulnerable with their mate.
Gotcha.
Not all. Some men will be like, I gotta show my significant other the strong side, and I'm vulnerable with my boys. Because some men feel like, a woman can't understand a man's day-to-day issues. So I'm gonna talk to my boys, and we'll feed back into each other or whatever. Or they'll find themselves like one person that they can, some people don't have anybody at all.
Yeah.
And I think that's a dangerous place to be.
Yes.
But there's also therapists and, things like that. And a lot of people have been, especially here in the past few years, a lot of people have been taking care of their mental health by going to see somebody. And which
For sure.
kudos to those people. But like I said, I think there's a good handful, a good chunk of men that aren't vulnerable with their mate because of something that happened in the past or because they were taught to be a certain way. So I have to show them my strong side. They don't see that. I don't show them weakness because if they see weakness, they'll think that I can't protect them or whatever it is,
I got you. Because so as a woman, and I know, I said earlier, like, well, get up, shut up. You don't know what a bad day is, being a single parent or whatever the case may be. But when you're in a relationship or like for real genuine relationship, you want to see that vulnerable side of your mate. You want to help them or take care of them in those emotional states. So honestly, guys say, they don't care about us. They don't care. I think that we get used to a certain point or a certain side of you, and when you try to bring that out, we're not accustomed to that. So it kind of throws us for a loop to see you that way or to hear you talk that way. And it's not that we don't care. It's like I'm blown away because I've never seen this side of you because the only facade I've ever seen was that hard man mentality. And sometimes as a woman, you get sick of that because you already know that you can't handle all this by yourself. But whenever you feel like you want to have a conversation, then I'm here for you and I'm here to listen and to help you. And sometimes people or men don't get that. And I totally understand there's not a right or a wrong because you feel one way one day, you feel another way another day, depending on the relationship, depending on where you are in life, depending on what you need in life. Because what I needed a year or two ago is not what I needed today. And sometimes we live in the past and sometimes we can't go forward. I don't know. Sometimes I'm just confused out here because it's just like, who do I need to be? What do I need to be? And if you're not talking to me, I don't know. And sometimes we hurt each other to the core to where we don't have anything to say. And that's a dangerous place as well.
Exactly.
Because then what do you do at that point? We're sitting around here looking at each other, we're hurt. Or you're okay, but I'm hurt. You getting all attention, but I'm over here, I'm hurt. I'm suffering. I don't know what to do. I know that I love you, but how do I tell you that I love you that I have never like I've told you this. I tell you this. I tell you this daily, all the time. Whatever the case may be, I'll do anything for you, but yet and still you ain't hear me. It's like
Mm,
there's a deaf ear to what I'm saying, and I don't know what else to do. So
mm,
then we out here just like living in a
mm,
whole house and we're
mm.
strangers.
Yeah,
And that's not a good place either.
at all.
Because when you detach, like you said, emotionally, guys go off attraction, women go off emotions. And sometimes when women detach emotionally, sometimes they step out. Not all women do. Sometimes
Mhm.
we sit there for the long haul. We just sit there, just look like, I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm not stepping out because, baby, if the world end today and I go cheat, I'm going to hell. And I don't want to do that. You know what I'm
True,
saying?
true.
I don't even want to take a chance.
Right.
So you just because you don't know. But I do have a couple questions for y'all.
Okay.
Single man versus married man. Um, what emotions come with being the provider in the relationship that people don't talk about? What emotions do you guys have being the provider or trying to be the provider that we don't even talk about? We talked about a lot up here,
Mm.
but what's back here that people need to know that you
Sometimes,
think?
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Sometimes, the stress that comes with being the leader, you know what I mean? Like, uh, because I feel like when you're expected to make sure that everything falls into place, sometimes that's a very stressful point because you know what I mean. Like, if I say, hey, baby, let me tell you about this. So maybe we need to budget more on this so that we can take care of this. Sometimes, sometimes it depends on the person. They don't want to hear that. I have grown accustomed to living this certain type of way.
Hmm.
So I don't want to change that, even if it is for just a moment. But like I said, it's depending on the person.
So what emotion comes with that?
Str-
Or
oh,
is it anger? What emotion? What
uh,
emotion comes with being the provider that people don't talk about?
I almost want. I almost want to say sadness,
Okay.
anger,
Hmm.
um, negative emotions. You know,
Okay.
but at the same time, there could be very great ones too, because you can feel accomplished by, hey, I took care of this for my family. I'm accomplished. You know, but it happens like from day to day, like
Hmm.
we were saying, day to
Okay.
day.
Anthony, what about you? Do you agree with Bo or do you have something different?
I have a few things.
Okay.
I want to say, I don't know. It's hard to put a name to it, but maybe a little bit of fear,
Hmm.
because there's a pressure that comes along with it, right?
Hmm.
Mhm.
And then sometimes in the back of your mind, you're like, man, what if something happens and I can't provide like I've always been providing? What happens then?
Hmm.
Like, and I'm not saying that my significant other is with me because of what I've been able to do, but it still crosses your mind,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and I think that's for all men,
Yeah.
whether you're in a relationship or not.
Some women.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Hmm.
Especially, yeah, exactly. What if I'm not able to provide, or what if I'm not able to perform at that level that I have been? Because it's kind of expect if you show it, it's kind of expected to continue.
Right.
Right, 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 right.
So it's kind of dangerous. Like I, it's kind of dangerous to like try to jump out here and perform at this level, and then but you can't sustain that level.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's almost a better idea to only perform at a level that's sustainable.
Right.
But what my main point is, it's like a fear. I just don't know the emotion, because of that pressure. It's
Yeah.
like that weight.
I
It's like
got you.
almost
Yeah.
anxiety.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well, that was
yeah,
my
it could
next
be. Yeah,
question.
it could be.
Have you ever felt anxiety or overwhelmed trying to live up to those expectations?
Man, yeah,
Yeah,
definitely, 100%. Because like I said, like shoot, I don't even have kids yet, but it's
yeah,
just like I'm an overthinker.
yeah.
Mhm.
So I'll go from 0 to 100 real quick. And like, let me just give you an example. Like, okay, what if I'm not able to provide for my wife, her sisters, her mother, her father, they're looking at me a certain way. What if I'm not be able to do this for their family member? How are they gonna look at me? And it's not even that, how are they gonna look at me? It's just and like
Yeah.
sometimes like I've sat and cried from the pressure.
Yeah.
Like I don't like to let people to see me cry.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'll go out by myself or whatever, and it just overwhelms you,
Yeah, for sure.
and it's got to come out some way.
It
Yeah.
sure
So
will.
and I'd rather it come out in tears
Yeah.
than it come out
Anger.
in anger or
Yeah.
anything like that. So
sure.
Yeah, that's
I'll
what it was.
sometimes I can't even cry. Like I'll need a good cry.
Yeah.
And I know if I cry, I'll feel so much better.
Yeah.
But it just won't come.
Nuh-uh.
And I think that's another thing that's kind of taught as for us being men, of
Yeah.
us being hard, of us being trying to be strong. Sometimes I've been at funerals, I didn't cry.
Yeah.
And it was somebody that was close
Dear,
to me. It was
yeah.
deep.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't cry.
Mhm.
I couldn't cry around people.
Yeah.
Let me say it
For
like
sure.
that.
Yeah.
For sure.
I couldn't cry around people. And sometimes my wife has even told me, like, I don't hardly ever see you cry.
Yeah.
I don't want you to see me cry.
Yeah.
But like you said earlier, it's good your significant other wants to see you vulnerable, because in a sense, you being vulnerable means you're dropping certain walls
Yeah.
and you're being more open.
Yeah.
So
Man, this is funny, but not. If I can be getting ready to kick you out my house, let me see a tear.
Mm-hmm.
I might change my mind. Okay.
Right.
But keep acting hard, get on out.
Mhm.
I'm telling you, it is, because being emotional with me
Mhm.
lets me know that you are human, and I that's just me. But I totally understand the part about not crying or not being able to cry, because you've been conditioned to be the strong one.
Right.
And so sometimes processing emotions come difficult for you. And then when you feel like you need a good cry, you can't, because you've been conditioned and you're inside your own head, because your mind will not release what it needs to release and let you be who you need to be in that moment and how to process things. Baby, I've been there, done all of that.
Can I give an example?
Yes, sir.
Briefly. So, a couple years back, I'm the youngest of 6.
Mhm.
Youngest of 6. I was at work. My dad and my oldest brother, they went fishing.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, they went fishing, and they had a great time. My brother called me. He was like, "Bro, me and Dad, we just got through fishing. We was laughing. We was crying. And as soon as I heard that, I hung up the phone. Hung up.
They needed that, Bo.
I know. I understand now. I understand now that they needed that, but I hung up the phone because it instantly made me mad. Because it made me mad because my dad, who I never saw cry or really show emotions, versus my oldest brother, who used to tell me, "Boy, what you doing? Get yourself together. We don't cry."
Says the
We
one
don't-
who cries.
I know. I'm saying I processed it now and I understand it now. But in that instant, I was so upset because in my mind, I said, "Bro, you conditioned me to not cry, to not complain, not to speak about certain things, and I never saw my daddy do it."
Mm-hmm.
So that whole thing, it looped me.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know what to expect. I was mad. I think I was mad crying. I think my whole everything was just turned up because I've always been the youngest, but I never felt like I could be vulnerable to anybody, if that makes any sense. Because by being the youngest, but then being the biggest, I always felt like, okay, well, if such and such, if they say something to my sister, it's on. If they say something to my brother, it's on. And then they would tell me, hey, well, certain emotions or whatever, they in a relationship, they gonna be right back together tomorrow, so don't jump into it. I said, I don't care. That's my sister. If she tell me to jump on you every day, I'm gonna whoop you every day. So in my mind, I feel like the conditioning part of not being able to be vulnerable, like this is who I always been. And like you said, it has to come out some way. And you get by yourself and you cry and stuff like that. I was the opposite. When emotions and stuff got to piling up and all that, whatever, when I could feel myself becoming emotional, I could automatically feel myself getting angry because I was conditioned to believe that when you feel emotions or when you feel sad, then you're reflecting a weakness. So so I wouldn't feel weak, the rest of me would get upset and I would act out in ways that I shouldn't. When it was probably easier just to cry, but I couldn't do that because I remember looking at myself in the mirror and I cried one day passing by. Look back in the mirror. What was that? And looking at myself and was like, boy, you don't cry. What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
Hit myself in the chest. Get yourself together. You know what I'm saying? And then by the time I come out the bathroom, okay, I'm better now. Nobody saw the transition I just went through, anything that I just did. Nobody saw that. That was me and God. So now I can go back to being who I was. My nieces, Taylor and them told me, because I used to be on them and stuff and with all the same things. I cried one day. And my nieces, they didn't tell me, they told Tammy. They said, now we know Uncle Bo, he human because he cried. We've never seen him cry. He always act either hard or upset. But for me, this wasn't an act. If you're watching this, if you're watching people do this and this is how you were conditioned, then it's not an act. I'm not having a facade trying to be tough in front of nobody because I believed everything that I've seen and everything that I was conditioned to be. So it wasn't a show. This was who I am. And it took me years of processing to be able to share emotions, to even be able to write with emotions, because all that for a while, it just felt bottled up because I didn't want to make me feel weak, if that makes any sense.
You didn't want to look weak.
To myself first.
Okay.
And then that's just how I functioned. So, years of processing, years of, talking to family, like, you can do this, you can do it. I ain't gonna say I fed into it the first time.
Mm-hmm.
But as I got in my secret place and was able to talk to God about certain things, and that emotion would come and that love and that joy or whatever that I needed, because I felt like the things that I needed first for me, I always had siblings and all that, but the real connection for me in a relationship dealing with a different individual, it had to come from like God teaching me how to react on different things and me listening.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm sure he was probably telling me a long time ago, but I wasn't listening. But that was a transition for me. And I just felt like it's not always a facade. It's not always a show. It's sometimes that's just who you are. And learning a person, sometimes that helps them as well as it helps you, because we don't all come developed. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So when getting in a relationship with someone or having someone, you have to say, am I ready for this?
Right. That's what I'm
You know what I
when
mean?
yes, all the stages of emotions that you just talked about.
Mhm.
I'm just sitting here thinking, like, are you ready for a relationship? Do you feel like you're ready for a relationship?
Me?
Yeah.
Yes. I feel like I'm ready for a relationship. I am a provider. I am a good listener.
Okay.
I like to cater to my person,
Okay.
I like to cater to them and make sure that they're okay. And by making sure that if they're okay, in turn, that makes me okay, knowing that they are. And I'm sure there are other steps and all that other stuff, but I'm just telling you, me, if I'm with this person and the things I do, how we interact with each other, if that makes you feel good, that in turn makes me feel good. And I think that's all I require for the most part. Sorry.
Okay, I got you. One more question before we go to our positive. How often does someone actually ask you, how are you doing emotionally? As a husband, as a male, just as men. How often? And we're gonna talk about this and then we're gonna leave with the positive.
It's for us.
Mhm.
Wifey asked me how I'm emotionally, probably once a month. once every 2 months, something like that. But that's just something that we do anyways. We ask each other, how are you emotionally? We try to
Gotcha.
have like a talk kind of like that. We probably need to do it like, monthly.
Yeah.
But I recommend, maybe every 2 weeks type of check in,
Yeah.
something like that, maybe even weekly. But I also have some homeboys that's what we talk about. Like when we get together, like, hey bro, how you doing?
Yeah.
Like life, how you doing in your relationship, how you doing emotionally, to kind of help us, bounce off each other, get stuff off our chests. So, but outside of those people,
Yeah.
maybe mama,
Yeah.
both my mamas, maybe they'll ask me sometimes, but other than that, that's it.
Do you answer truthfully?
It depends. It depends on It depends. It depends on how deep I am because
Yeah.
like if I'm in the middle of it, I'm probably not gonna answer truthfully.
Gotcha.
I'm all right.
Yeah.
I'm good. I'm gonna get through it
Yeah.
at some point,
Yeah.
But if I'm like on the transition out of it, I might be more
Open
honest.
and-
It also
yeah.
depends on who's asking too.
Got you.
Because some people, they don't really care.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna go through all of that.
Yeah.
But somebody they don't care about.
Exactly.
I understand.
But people that actually care about my well-being, okay, I might give you a little piece of it.
Yeah.
Because I also don't want to weigh you down with my burdens,
Mhm.
I got you. What about you, Bo?
Hardly never. You ask me.
Mm-hmm.
You ask my big sister. She asks me every so often. That's about it.
I got you.
That's it. And my answer is always, yeah, I'm good, sis.
Yeah.
I'm okay.
This is true. You
That's
you
what's
tell
up.
that lie every time. But yeah, I totally get it because if I'm just being honest with you too, on the woman side of that, the person who asked me if I'm emotionally good, 9 times out of 10, it is my mom, and she only asks me basically when I am like super tired, and she could tell that I'm tired. And dark rings around your eyes or whatever the case may be. Are you okay? You tired? And then, that's it. But other than that, no one asked
Yeah.
me if I'm emotionally okay. And honestly, to be asked if you are emotionally okay once a week is good. I
Mhm.
feel like it's good for me because we go through something all the time. And if I'm not emotionally good, then I'm just like I totally agree with Anthony. If I'm processing it, I'll be like, I'm fine, everyday stuff, we all right, whatever.
Mhm.
Then as I'm going through it, then no, I'm not going to be open with it. I'm just going to be like, I'm fine, I'm good, whatever. And honestly, it really depends on if I'm transitioning out, then I might be a little bit more open. Or I will be open. I'll be telling stuff, like, hey, let me tell you this. Or, like, hey, you're my brother, let me tell you what's going on. Different things like that. But other than that, I just I kind of bottle things up. And a lot of women do because I know how you guys feel. Or how the people that were making comments on TikTok about how they feel like they're not being heard. They feel like, no one really cares about what they do, how they do it, whatever, as long as they're taking care of those bills. I feel that same way too.
Mhm.
I really do. And if I'm being honest with you, I felt this way this past week. I was not emotionally good. I had to process some things on my own. But then after I processed it, I was fine with it. But I had to process it. You know what I mean? But it bothered me. It hurt me to my core. But then soon got over it, cried about it, processed it, and then I was fine. But we don't get I don't get asked
Yeah.
how I am emotionally a lot.
Yeah.
People just assume that you're good
Yeah.
because you're conditioned to be the strong one. And
Right.
sometimes you're not. And I'm not making this about me, but this is about y'all. So, I
Same.
mean, it is what it is. No, we're
Right.
talking about men's perspective.
All right.
But we always leave our podcast with the positive.
Mhm.
We're going to continue to do this in 2026 because sometimes we go through things and sometimes we process things out and we come to the end of it and we're okay. What can you give someone else out there that may be processing and has been processing for a while and doesn't know how to, what to do? And they're in a relationship and they feel like, hey, no one appreciates me, no one cares about me. They only care about my money. They only care that I can pay these bills. They only care that I can keep these lights on. whatever the case may be, because I've been there, done that too, and I'm sure other people have felt that way. So give them a positive on, going into 2026. What can they expect? What should they do? And if they feel this way, is it okay to feel this way? Is it not okay to feel this way? What should they do? Y'all go ahead and take it on. Do-do-do-do-do. Whatever y'all want to say.
Well, I feel like it's not okay to feel this way. It's very vital and important to find a person, someone that you completely trust into. On a married perspective, have the conversation. Sometimes it's hard to have the conversation, but hey, this is how my week went. How was your week? Let's talk about it. Let's engage with each other, because at the end of the day, my household is within this house. The world is the world. But if we in this for the bettering of each other, to be the best versions of each other that we can be, and bring this unity into one, we have to have these conversations. We have to genuinely be concerned about the other person. Not just talking to reply, but we need to talk to listen. Pour into each other. Pray together. I'm so big on that. I'm so big on, if I'm in a relationship, I don't care if we at a restaurant, we're going to pray together over this food. We're going to talk. We're going to pray together, this situation. I believe in leading things with prayer. Even if I have my own way of doing things that's not completely how it should be, I do know that prayer works. And I do know that you can't get the answer to a problem if you don't ask. So have those conversations. Ask those hard questions, because it makes you better. It makes you better, them better, us better.
Gotcha. Anthony, what about you?
Work on your communication. And that's for relationships, that's for friendships, that's for everything, every aspect of life. Because if you become a better communicator, in all honesty, your life will get better. Because communication can help you out on your job. Communication can help you out with your money. Communication can help you out with your kids. Learn how to communicate. I've been guilty. I'm still technically guilty of not being the best communicator. I could do better at opening up. I could do better of showing some of my emotion, letting people in. So my thing is learn how to communicate. Find you somebody that you can be vulnerable with. Find you somebody that's not going to throw it back in your face, and be vulnerable with them. And because you got to have a outlet.
Yeah.
Because if you keep that in, somebody's going to get it. And that and it might not come out in the best way, and it might
Pressure
ruin
bust
some
pipes.
things. So, and then also, I don't like the term happy wife, happy life. I like the term or the phrase of happy spouse, happy house.
Yeah.
There's also another one that I really liked. I can't think of it right now, but I think both people should be happy, even though I know there's gonna be some men in the comments that they gonna be like, they still are along that hard mindset of like, I don't have to be happy. I want my people to be happy or whatever. Nah, I don't think you should go through your entire life being unhappy.
No, absolutely
Because
not.
I think that's the recipe of when your kids
Disaster.
and when your kids get grown, y'all gonna end up separating.
This is true.
Like,
This
and
is true.
you don't want your kids to see that.
No.
So try your best. And I get that in some relationships, things change as things go on.
Yeah.
That's unavoidable sometimes. You gotta kind of gotta deal with that. But do your best in the beginning of the relationship. Communicate.
Yeah.
Figure out what your partner's about. Do your best. I get that some people can hide stuff, but do the best that you can. And that's why it works for some people. Some people can get married in 6 months. And, I just think that you need some time to go through some things. And because when you go through some things with the person, that's when you really figure out who they really are.
Right.
When y'all finances get low, when somebody gets sick, when y'all go through some things, that's when you find out who a person really is. And that's the person that you with.
Yeah.
So
You're right about that. Because my thing is this. How are you in a stressful situation? What do you do? Honestly, this tells you a lot about a person. So you're right. I totally agree with you on that. I always, like, if I'm in a relationship and something happens, say for instance, we've locked the keys in the house. How are you in that stressful situation? How are you in a emergency situation? Tells me a whole lot about you. Do you break that door down or do you call Papa Lock? You know what I'm saying? Do you bust a window in? What do you do? Tells me a lot about who you are in the relationship that we are about to go into.
True.
Because if you that guy that's going to break that door down that I got to pay for, let's just pay the money to pay Papa Lock to come over here and open, because he going to save the door. We got to pay him money, and that's it. That's all, and we're good. So don't go in busting doors down. Come on in there, bring on Papa Lock. Is that not that's logical? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That just makes sense. If you lock your keys up in the car, are you busting the door in?
No.
We call him Papa Lock.
Exactly.
Amen and hallelujah. So absolutely, communication. Communication rules the nation, as Mr. Germany used to say back in DeKalb Middle School. Thank you all so much for being a part of the podcast on today. We definitely appreciate it. Appreciate you too. A man's perspective. Honestly, we probably need to bring on more guys, have more conversations about this, just to kind of see, because honestly, in 2026, it is my goal to bring awareness to what it is that you feel that's not going good in relationships, and why, and how you guys don't feel appreciated. If it's all about us, and it's not, you have to have two happy partners in order to have things to go in the right direction.
True.
All right, y'all. Thank you so much for joining us today on another episode of the Let's Talk podcast. If you like our content, please give us a thumbs up, subscribe it out, tell everybody and your mama and all of them and thems and everybody else to subscribe to our content. All right. Definitely trying to grow our family on this side of the hill. And until the next time, guys.